Okay, guys, hey, we shall start the AMA, and we got tons of good questions accumulated, and I'm going to go and address them one by one in order. And let us start. And then after I address the accumulated questions, feel free to add others, and I'll be happy to answer. Let's run this, for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. As long as I can answer most of the questions, we should consider this a success. Okay, so first thing first, let me dig out the question list and proceed, right? So I'm just gonna start answering the questions in no particular order. There is maybe 24 questions, and some of them will overlap. And if the context overlaps, I'm just going to repeat what I said before. Okay, so here we go. Without further ado, going to question number 1. So first I'm going to read the question and then provide an answer. So first, are you considering buybacks? Well, per our white paper and per previous explanations, we will only do buybacks in case we have a large advertiser wanting to purchase a quantity of engagement tokens on our platform, and for some reason exchange is not supplying this liquidity. Given the state of the market right now, I highly doubt it's going to happen within near term. Maybe in a year a situation like this can arise, but it's possible. Okay, now going on to next question. Let me just check if the reception is good, if people can hear me. Okay. So let's proceed to a second question. So what are the daily activities of our BizDev team, sales team, also CEO, to acquire new portals and publishers? Well, it's pretty routine. We have several stand-ups. These are weekly meetings where first we have a technical get-together where all the heads of technical departments report on their progress. And then we have sales meeting where along with technical heads, we also have salespeople present and then report on their progress. So it's a really good way to sync up the activities. And our sales team is actually out there daily, plugging in their lead list, doing cold calling and trying to convert publishers. Now, the difference with us is we are trying to really attack the higher end of the spectrum. So if you think of publisher distribution as publishers that have a long tail, tons of small ones who don't have a lot of audience or impressions, and then a few whales, right? So most of the meaningful traffic on the internet is concentrated in these whales. And we have snagged a few of these deals, right? As you know, Tribune Publishing is our investor, and we are on some of their properties. And also, we were able to secure Hearst newspapers late spring as one of our publishers, and we are working on some more deals. And actually, some of these pubs are actually in testing right now. So some of them are in integration, and hopefully some of them are going to actualize later. However, it's a very difficult world. Traditional publishing model is dying, and all of these guys, and by these guys I mean big publishers, are only after revenue. Good news is they're now finally starting to look at various innovative ways to generate that revenue. So they're looking at tokenization potentially, looking at the cryptocurrency, and looking for these new ways to extract more revenue from the users. And we come in and we provide our proposals. So the daily activities for BizDev team and sales team are pretty regular. Cold calling, follow-up, leads, meetings, whatnot. Okay. Let me check the chat. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so going on to the next question, since the 15th of August to date, around 2 million tokens, the exact figure is given, have been moved from main EGT address. Can the company explain where they have gone and what they're being used for? Oh, it's very simple. So we did our KYC ML process through a third-party vendor, and significant chunk, maybe 10% of the people just never followed up, and they keep rolling in. And as these documents keep rolling in, we keep releasing the tokens. So this is just an unfolding of the token sale process. And we still have about 5% of the people who never send in their KYC AML documents, but we expect to wrap it up. And so these tokens actually went to that purpose. They went to contributors. Next question: when will ENGT be updated on CoinMarketCap? Good question. We keep begging CoinMarketCap to properly update our token valuation literally weekly, and so far getting cold shoulder. Even after we got exchange listings, finally, it took us weeks to get them to list the token. And this is just CoinMarketCap. I guess they have a lot on their plate, but we are pinging them weekly, and so far no immediate response. But eventually they're gonna update it, because I heard from reliable sources that eventually it happens. Okay. Oh. Next question: when will ENGT? Oh, I'm sorry. When we have seen ENGT drop 97% since ICO, is there going to be any solution for investors who lost all of their investment? Okay, well, guys, look at token stats. Market is horrible right now. I mean, I literally look into our cohort and into other token sales, and the market is deleveraging. People are running away from crypto and the tokens, and there is nothing can be done. I mean, it's very difficult to fight that tide. The only way forward is for us to stay the course as outlined in our white paper, and get more actual usage on a token, and get more business partners, develop the business, and in a year or two climb up out of that hole, again, the market, and be a great, reliable company. Also want to remind you that it's not investors who have purchased the token, these are contributors. So it's not an investment, it's a contribution with an idea that that exchange medium that has been purchased is going to create an economy, and then people can participate in that economy. Okay, next question. There was a scam ICO called Benebit, ring any bells? So CEO of ENGT offered double of tokens per sale to those who hasn't been benefited, as it were. It is my belief that he didn't do that to help the crypto community as initially claimed, but because there is no demand for ENGT token, and the only way for the ICO to make money was provide 2x tokens as an incentive. What does he have to say to that? Thanks. Well, it's classic loaded question. Clearly, the person asking it made up their opinion because they're answering the question within a question. It's hard to debate that. I did indeed offer that bonus to the groups that helped us do the raise, because we were immediately preceding the Benebit allocation, and it would look extremely bad for the guys if that didn't resolve well. And we actually were instrumental in helping to locate the perpetrators and bring the money back. So it was purely altruistic feeling for the community. This person seems to think otherwise. I'm not going to argue. Just sincerely hope they will exit our project and go on their merry way. Okay, next question. Where the cash going towards mostly? Well, cash right now is going toward structuring new partnerships. we are actively looking to find a strategic partner for whom we can really leverage the value of ENGT as a reward token for activity on the internet. And these are either online publishers or companies which want to utilize engagement on the web. And we are working on a few very interesting deals for that. So it's going toward business development. And also we are entertaining the ideas of, as part of growing our business, creating landing platforms and usage platforms for ENGT. So this is where the cash is going. Next question. Have you already or you're ever going to sell ENGT OTC to your institutional clients? That depends. If institutional clients are funds that are willing to invest into the token opportunity, we will likely not do that because we reserve the ENGTs to our business partners. And the idea is to release them only as the infrastructure grows and more of the token liquidity is required to bring business up. As far as selling the ENGTs to advertisers, we might do that in very unlikely case when the capacity of the exchanges will be exhausted. And as I said already, it's extremely unlikely in the near term. What is your current user base? Will all of the existing clients be shifted to crypto? So our current user base is about 4 million users, maybe a little more than that. And these are users that have accounts on our engagement platform. Now, they already shifted to crypto. So instead of points, which were solid opinion points, all of these guys have ENGT. So if you go to LA Times right now, in the commenting section, you will have our ENGTs instead of points. Now, this is not a crypto savvy user base, right? Our goal right now would be to try to enfranchise them into crypto universe, into ENGT's usage portal and get them going in that economy. And there is a strategy to do that. Right now, because of the extreme down market and crypto just collapsing, it might not be the best time to create an educational outreach for them. Plus, it's also important for us to have full collaboration of the partner who is running specific publishing platforms. For example, we would need the LA Times fully collaborate with us in the story. And again, since crypto is crashing, we gotta just take a very measured approach to that. Okay, next question. So we're doing pretty good time right now on this. If I understood correctly, we don't actually need an active user base in here for the token to thrive, correct? It all boils down to the adoption from companies. If that's the case, what are the first bigger customers of yours going to purchase engagement tokens, and what does the process look like? Are they buying from exchanges, or you do that for them? So let me answer these questions in order because it's kind of stacked together. Yeah, we actually don't need any kind of social activity in our Twitter, Facebook, Telegram, whatnot for the business to thrive. Yeah, it boils down to basically rotation and of engagement token within our ecosystem. And the moment we have significant demand for tokens from the real world, this is where these tokens would need to be purchased from exchanges. And obviously, you know, this is going to impact the price. And then these tokens are going to get exhausted. Real income is going to be generated, and that real income will again go to exchange to buy engagement tokens. We are really not playing up our token to speculators. And, you know, I got to be frank, was also an ICO investor or contributor. And I know the game pretty well. And I know in China, guys, of course, you're aware of this. There are funds upon funds, people not sleeping. You know, they're literally sleeping in those cubicles and working there 24/7. and they're playing against you. On every single token, there are funds that are playing against people. So they're professionals in this. I am, for instance, not, as far in my ICO contributor days. And it's useless to play these games. All we need to do is grow our business and execute the plan. So when will the first big customer purchase our tokens? So we are working on some very interesting partnerships, and as they will mature, we will update everybody in our monthly report. But we expect that this should happen within the next 6 months. We are staying true to our plan, building up the properties, building up the partnership links, and we gotta see if everything is all right within that time frame. The first larger buys. Yeah, so they're going to be buying from exchanges. In case they're not crypto savvy, we might execute an exchange buy for them, or we'll recommend a third party for them to do it, right? But initial exchange, and then if exchange is exhausted, might be OTC. Again, not likely that this will happen. Okay. Okay, going on to next. What are the next steps regarding development and business expansion? Very good question. So what we are doing, we are running our platform on LA Times, Hearst, and some other properties. And what we are seeing is that our initial bet that promoted comments and promoted headlines would generate advertiser interest and will perform well is not quite working out. We are not seeing the level of advertiser engagement, them really trying to go after some of these buys, and then the units themselves are not really performing well above banners. So we got to retrench a little bit and think what we shall do next. Currently, there are a couple of ideas, right? There are these big publishers who are really hurting for revenue, and tokenizing and creating these reward schemes based on engagement tokens just might be the thing. We have addressed a few executives in the industry, and it seems that there is a way to go forward with this. And it could be either in the form of, let's say, a large recognized publisher issuing their own token, which will be backed by engagement token, or them using engagement tokens directly in customer reward schemes, and then creating CPA advertising kind of mechanics for people to spend their engagement tokens and redeem that for real cash. So it's a little bit involved and complicated, but we are trying to innovate around these concepts of engagement token being useful in real economy. So expect to see some nice solutions real soon. So again, broadly speaking, is stay in the course, trying to get more publishers to deploy our engagement platform, but at the same time trying to see if we can help these publishers and new publishers use engagement tokens to dive deeper, quote unquote, into the monetization of their existing audience, right? Because for example, right now, typical web publisher, even large one, will mostly use Google and programmatic ad schemes for monetization, and that only has a certain revenue per user, maybe 10 cents per user, and a lifetime user value of $1. Well, how can we bring engagement token into the picture for them and have users earn engagement tokens and maybe view videos and do kind of these advertising-based quests for them, so that user value for them climbs from that $1 to $2 to $3 to $4. And this is what needs to happen for them to succeed, and for us as well, right? To find that way to help these businesses. Okay, next question. The debacle surrounding exchange listing is embarrassing to me as an investor. What are the plans to encourage adoption and rebuild of the brand and the platform. Well, thank you that you're taking our embarrassment so personally. It was a debacle. We were supposed to unlock, literally list on the same day as we have unlocked the token. But as you know, in crypto world, these are all agreements, and sometimes the other parties don't honor the agreements, and that actually causes harm. We had some of our larger token holders promising us the listing, and they actually were very reliable in the past with other token sales. But in our case, unforeseen circumstances happen in their case, and they basically reneged on their promise, and we had to take a long road forward and wasted a bunch of time, more than a month listing on a good exchange, which is regrettable, but this is crypto. Things happen, and we eventually listed. So what are the plans to encourage adoption and rebuild of the brand and the platform? So there is nothing to rebuild. There might be a short-term FUD about us not listing in the crypto community, but crypto community is not really our focus, and our brand is not centered in that, right? Our brand needs to perform well for our clients, and then utilize crypto as a method in our business. And as far as encouraging adoption, I think we have answered that before. Okay, where do you see, next question, where do you see ENGT in 2, 5, and 10 years? Well, it's a very easy kind of thing to project. In the most naive term, we have already a couple of encouraging examples. For example, Steam took about 2.5 years to incubate, and they're doing quite nicely. It's a small community, but that small community has real people and real token transacting in value, and they're doing pretty well. So in 2 years, we should be at least at the level of Steam. So this is our goal, to become the next de facto standard for rewarding people online for engagement and for interaction. Similarly to basic attention token, in 2 years we should be peers or doing better than BAT, basic attention token, or Steam, right? And in 5 years, I really think that we would ideally be an ecosystem where anybody can plug in, and the real engagement on the web can be measured through us, and we would be distributed and pretty ubiquitous, and the true value of that engagement and personalities online would be basically balanced and gouged by crypto market, and we would enable large percentage of these communities around content. Well, classic web publishers, I think, will die, but these communities around content will emerge, and we would be driving them. And in 10 years, oh my God, it's like too long in our current circumstances. But I really like to see us transform the way that online content is consumed and create this participatory and engaged modality of users consuming the news, right? So that everybody earns engagement tokens, everybody spends engagement tokens. Similarly, it's kind of this automatic process where every single interaction in the web that you have is scored with certain value in engagement tokens, and then something you put in, something you take out, and people can reward other entities, companies, content creators with engagement tokens, and it becomes a de facto a thing that has won. Okay. Now, next question. Let me see if everything is going smoothly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, next question. We want transparency. What is the plan for the following 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 10 months, 12 months? Spare no details. Well, We are giving monthly reports right now. Bi-weekly is a little short, right? Because typical business lead iteration time is about a month or longer for us, right? And even if you talk about technology, the average Scrum sprint for us is also about 2 weeks. So there's really not much news that can be accumulated in bi-weekly format. So we switch to a monthly format, and then we'll update the community once a month about our progress, our plans, our goals, and that could be viewed in our social media channels and on our blogs and on the site. A goal for 3 months, 6 months, 10 months, and 12 months. We will not be doing these more granular updates for the reason, again, that they distract us and they're more confusing than useful to the community, right? We can outline the broad direction and then give monthly reports so we can check how we're following the broad direction. But situation is very fluid, right? If I try to predict 6 months or 10 months or 12 months in advance, and then be held to execution in that schedule, these can literally move the company or the team into optimal tactical moves that bind us to certain agreements or predictions when situation has completely changed. So it's just not practical in our situation. Okay. Next question. I want to know how you have prepared and protected the crypto rate during the TGE, the current market sentiment and trend in mind. What have you done to mitigate the losses? Well, we have done the smart thing. Obviously, we have used cold wallets. We have third parties with regimented access to the wallets so that none of the team has access for security reasons, right? It's all properly maintained. And we also have diversified into cash, not as much as probably was necessary, but we also think that we need a certain amount of crypto to function. So also, given the modest size of our raise and the crypto fall, obviously, we have done all the right things, but nobody could have predicted the collapse of it to that degree. So I think we have also done the right split between crypto and cash to mitigate the losses. So we are doing great. We have several years of operational cash and crypto to execute our plan. So I think we've done the right thing. Okay. What are you doing to encourage and promote engagement within your social media accounts? We are not doing much because we don't think it's going to help us. More crypto speculators in the channel with Lambos and whatnot, especially in this horrible market, are talking moving up and down. Don't think it's worth spending cash or creating extra hype, right? What we want to do is to get genuine community advocates in and help them help us execute our plan and maybe provide some rewards for them. But looking for them, there are some genuine folk like that. Currently, because of the FUD in the markets and the way just crypto community works, it's going to be difficult to isolate those individuals. But I think we're going to start slowly taking meaningful steps to reward some of the better community members who help us realize our vision. Okay, yeah, moving on. This community side and the funds raised have always been a concern to me. Who and where are the users of this platform? Okay, it's not really elaborated what's exactly the concern. So is it small community? Is it modest amount of funds raised? Not clear. But if it is a concern, I guess it could be asked as a follow-up question, how exactly is it a concern, and what can we have done to explain or alleviate this concern? So being concerned, can't really answer that. And who and where are the users of this platform? So the users of this platform currently are all the people on our publishing engagement platform: Spill Games, LA Times, San Diego Union Tribunes, SFGate, and other publishers. Now, these are not crypto savvy people. They're using engagement tokens. They're buying some, right? Not in the volumes that we want, but they're doing that, and they're transacting. They're not crypto savvy, as I said, but we have a definite strategy on raising ENGT in their mind. It's a business process, and it will unroll within the next few quarters. So we also have some innovative ideas on some of the properties that we want to build up to own our to really control user base directly. And we have some innovative ideas on how to engage those passive users that we already have using engagement platform to active users within our own properties. Okay, next question. You promised biweekly report and they never on time. You think monthly report will be on time? We're very busy. Sometimes we miss our biweekly dates for a few days, which I don't think is no great harm. Nothing meaningful will happen in 2 week interval. And as we switch to monthly reports, we'll get them within a week of the allotted date. That I can promise you. But if we miss it for a very good reason. We are working, so very busy. But as soon as something amazing and immediate happens that everybody needs to know about, we'll post it in our Telegram channel or on our social media outside of monthly report. I really want to next question. I really want to contribute to the post ACO brand awareness. Truly want to stand behind this project. However, the current status of the team and their lack of transparent work has been downright depressed. Why would anyone want to participate, contribute, and promote this platform? Let's answer this. First of all, thank you for wanting to help. However, the current status of the team and their lack of transparent work. Well, transparent work involves a lot of distraction, right? So, for example, if we would give you minute-by-minute updates from the team and really spam the channels with meaningless information, which doesn't result in something that you can actually touch or feel, which is important to business, it would be way more detrimental than if you would give reasonably paced reports which would show substance. So I think we are doing enough measurable transparency to find this golden middle, right, where we are not excessively communicative and then also not completely silent. Why would anyone want to participate, contribute, and promote this platform? Well, good question. I mean, some people would do it because they like the white paper, the concept. Others wanted to opportunistically benefit in token sale speculations. I guess most of that community, and there are a host of reasons. We are also working on some very interesting initiatives that might actually benefit people who will help us promote it, specifically our token holders who participated in the token sale. Okay, next question. Do the team members of ENGT consider this project and their TGS success story? If yes, please tell me why you believe so. Well, we really don't. It's okay. It's an okay story. It's not a complete horror, but it's not a success that we had in mind. And there are many reasons for this not going exactly as we wanted, but the largest reason was immediate crypto crash. The horrible crypto collapse that happened right when our token sale, private pre-sale was gathering steam. We got quite a good start, an exceptional start, and then crypto crash prompted all the major commitments that we had on paper and verbally from extremely reliable teams just to go out of the window because they were covering their bases everywhere else trying to survive. So we just moved into a very bad timing, right? So hindsight 2020, we knew that our strategy probably would be different, but at the same time, it's a success. We have executed the plan. We have tokenized. We have converted our technology, which is no mean feat with all of those users. And we have something new to offer the market, and we have enough resources to realize our vision. I think this is a success, right? I mean, the raise in itself is meaningless unless we execute. Let's say we raised 100 times more money, but our execution capacity will still stay the same, right? As far as vision is concerned. So it was important for us to raise enough to execute the vision. I think we succeeded in that. So that's the end of that. Okay. Next question. Next question. What does a day look like to the team, and describe the work environment? Well, we're a distributed team, right? We are all over the globe with United States, Europe, working together. So everybody works in their own pace, but we have technical teams, we have business teams, and we have offices in United States, in Irvine, New York, and Europe. And basically, we connect over Skype, Telegram, Google Hangouts, and also do on-site visits periodically. So it's a typical tech company workday with stand-ups, Scrum meetings. The only exception being that it's a distributed team, so most of it happens in cyberspace. Are there any meetups planned, tours, and/or attending events? Well, not in the nearest future, right? Our feeling is that we have to focus on business and really get the token economy going through that, right? Getting customers, clients, and real traction. What kind of events we will attend? Well, I stand corrected. We actually plan a few industry events, which are specific events to online publishing and advertising universe, right? Not so much crypto, because we feel that crypto for us is a tool. It's not an end in itself. Us attending some crypto conference in Asia and generating pumps or with suffering subsequent dumps is not really the way to go. For us, all of our efforts should be toward development of our business and our technology. So we are actually planning to participate in topical conferences on publishing and advertising side of the internet industry. Okay, next. With whom do you relate, Konstantin? What I mean is there anyone in tech, business, finance world you look up to? I'm fascinated by some people, obviously Elon, Jeff, typical, of a techie, because that's my education, applied mathematics and, computer science. I was a pretty good engineer back in the day, but again, I'm not really following or trying to emulate them, because everybody has their own circumstances and their story, and I generally don't believe in trying to copycat people. Okay, next question. If you could turn back time and restart your TGE ICO, would you do anything differently? If yes, what and how come? Yeah, obviously, we know that crypto crash happened, and all of those commitments that were supposed to go into our private sale and later into public sale did not materialize. And if we knew that, we would obviously not waste as much time trying to do the public sale. And the immediate different thing I would do would cut the token, do the token generation event right after the pre-sale, and completely eliminate the public sale. And not waste time with and energy with that time period where we didn't really accomplish a lot because of the crypto crash, and get right to work, right? I also would restate some of the deals that we were planning to do with our publishers and our adopters of the platform, because of the size of the commitments that we have that did not materialize, right? We were playing a bit of a high roller game, right? Like we were really committing to some major strategies as far as adoption and publisher and business acquisition on very grand scale. And since that didn't materialize, I think we should have rolled back into a more conservative mode and entrenched for a longer term game immediately after a crypto crash started manifesting its ugly head. Okay. Oh, and last but not least, on the last question, of course, we would also handle community expectations a little bit better, but that comes with experience. So, okay, next question. I am new to blockchain in general and would really like your perspective on your thoughts on ETFs being accepted or not. Also, how does this affect the future of blockchain and ENGT? This is macro stuff, right? I am not macro specialist, but I did work in finance for a while, so I can say that the more instruments there are, and the easier retail money can flow into the crypto, it's the better it is, the more players are there, and so also some institutionals might come in, and ETFs are the best way to do it, and ETFs would really help. Would they immediately alleviate the crisis of trust in crypto that's happening right now and money leaving the crypto universe? I don't know. Likely not in the short term. I think crypto winter will last maybe for a year or two as more deleveraging happens. But ETFs will help. I also think crypto is here to stay, and eventually they're going to be here, and that's going to help, obviously, the whole ecosystem, including ENGTs, where if ETFs could be somehow then bundled into Ether-based coins, we could potentially have even that money flow into the token portfolios. Okay. Are there any plans to grow or reduce the size of ENGT team? Are there plans for expansion, perhaps also in other parts of the world? Where immediately we have all the personnel we need to execute our short-term plan. But I think as revenue starts rolling in, we probably would need to expand. And that would be tactically dictated by the circumstance, right? So we expect for the next 6 to 8 months to stay put and execute. Okay, so this actually exhausts all the questions that we had prior to AMA, and let me see. So yeah, we're kind of rolling out of time a little bit. So let me just give a little update on some of the initiatives that we might want to do and leave it at that. And we can probably close the session and move on. And we'd be doing probably this AMA Hangout type of Q&A thing quarterly, so once a quarter. And probably should do a tradition out of it. Okay, so a little bit of a report on our immediate thinking of some of the initiatives that might move the needle for engagement token. And as I said, we are thinking of developing a few destinations where we would actually control the users ourselves. These are going to be destinations owned by ENGT International, also powered up by Solid Opinion technology. And these destinations would, instead of us being an intermediary between publisher and advertiser or an appendage to a publisher's site, we build us into a publisher proper, where people would come to our destinations and then use engagement tokens and transact engagement tokens to get either a greater share of voice or participate in various quests or view advertising and whatnot. So this comes with the whole idea of owning the user session, right? So whoever owns the user session makes the most money on the internet. And we really want to build up a few properties as part of ENGT International and Engagement Token to take advantage of that. First property is going to be ENGT.io, which is going to be a news portal. And it's going to be a news portal that's going to utilize Solid Opinion comments radar technology, and it's going to center around conversation about the news, right? So imagine going into Google News and seeing all the headlines, but then what are people's reactions? What is a conversation around the headlines? And ENGT.io is going to be a convenient way to come in and see that and then participate in these discussions, no matter where they're happening. It's either happening on ENGT.io directly or on other publishers. So it's kind of the gossip effect. And ENGT.io also is going to feature ability to create your own ENGT, where you'd be able to create a short blog that people could discuss, kind of like on Medium, but also emphasizing the responses to your entry. And then this is going to end up in ENGT.io news tape. And obviously, it's going to be wrapped around the engagement token ecosystem, where people would be able to promote their ENGT listing in overall news feed by spending engagement tokens. People would earn engagement tokens for coming, participating, and interacting with ENGT. And then last but not least, people would have very real rewards, because what we are going to do with ENGT and subsequent iterations of engagement token platform is easy ability to liquidate ENGTs into cash via PayPal or into crypto and whatnot. So whenever you earn your ENGTs on ENGT, you'd be able to immediately transfer them out to the blockchain, sell them, receive reward. We actually partner up with a licensed payment processor to do these liquidations. So plan to have a real going live economy. And we think the concept is interesting enough and compelling enough where we can build quite a big base for ENGT.io and have this property performing nicely for us. The ENGT is in its final design stages. I believe we'll start development end of September, and in a few months we'll start driving users to ENGT and have our ENGT live. Last but not least, very interesting concept. We're just talking to the lawyers. Apparently, since engagement tokens are already out, you might be able to invest engagement tokens into projects. So we're actually thinking of maybe spinning out ENGT as a separate entity, also on Caymans, owned by engagement token, and then have certain part of ENGT be investable into with engagement tokens at obviously, pretty good rates to our token holders, so that they can participate in owning these new platforms that engagement tokens are going to roll out. Of course, there is a tricky thing with a utility definition of the token, and we are working with lawyers to exactly figure out the way to do it so it doesn't run contrary to the legislation. But we're thinking, and there are some very intriguing possibilities that are possible. So stay tuned for those things. We're also looking for potential strategic partnerships with big businesses that want to tokenize their economies, and there are some things in the works. So if some of them materialize, it's going to be very, very interesting for everybody. Where engagement tokens just like explode overnight if you find a right strategic partner with proper business flows that we can tokenize. And finally, there are also a couple other initiatives that we have in mind which we can execute reasonably well as far as properties. There are some gambling trainers, quote unquote, some games, some other interactive experiences that we can support, and stay tuned. Is going to get really real interesting, because I think we really want to do something with this tokenization of user engagement online, and with crypto markets helping us set the correct prices for these engagements. So with that, I want to end our session. Thank you. I believe the session was recorded, so we're going to post it on our social media, and you can always reference it for answers to the questions. And thank you so much, everybody.